I'm really keen about the second part of what you said there. So the obviously, if it fails, the Blanco other data erasing tools are available. You then have to shred the hard drive, and you said that it's got to be a certain millimeter.
Yes, yes. So obviously it
That's
depends on
bad.
what you. I know it depends on what you are shredding, because
Okay.
obviously not everything is going to shred to the same millimeter. With NAND cells, you have to make sure they're completely destroyed to make sure so that you've got the little square inside it. You have to
Yeah.
make sure that square is destroyed, and yeah, it has to go down to a certain millimeter. All shredders cope with different millimeters. Obviously we go as fine as we can. We've got a nice big massive shredder, makes a lot of noise. But that does shred it down really, really well. And yeah, you have to make sure you're within a certain protocol. This is obviously for an ADESA kind of concept side of things. There is no like legal, I suppose, requirement in the ITAR world, because there isn't really a set rules and regulations protocol spreadsheet. But for an ADESA standpoint, yeah, it needs to be shredded right down. We go as low as we can, so within the smallest millimeters we can get, really, really small. So yeah, there's no way that you're putting that back together. And that's the whole point of it. You shred it within an inch of its life so that you cannot put it back together. It's completely destroyed without any form of putting it together.
So gone are the days where you had that tool where you used to put the hard drive in it and just and it used to like just
the hydraulic crusher.
Yeah,
we still have ours. We don't use it, but it's still there just because I feel like it's one of those things. It's like a memory, a time lapse back in time. But yes,
so that wasn't effective.
I remember back in the days pulling that right down. That is hard work. That gives you a good arm workout, I tell you. But yeah, we don't use that anymore. That's not a good effective way of destroying your data, but it still sits there.
But it wasn't effective, you're saying?
No, well, you have to make sure you'd have to literally puncture it in the exact correct spot, and that could be very tricky to do. And not only that as well, if you only get it in the corner, then you've still got the rest of the NAND cell, which you can then technically get back together and put back together and then get some data out of it.
Damn.
So I would never recommend hydraulic crushing as an effective way of getting rid of your data.
Wow, okay, cool. So yeah, gone are the days of those crushing
things.
Yeah,
gone are the days of getting your arm workout in, pulling that thing down. No more.
With a pile of hard disks just outside in a courtyard, just going.
I know.
Oh man. Oh, times have changed. And then what happens once you've shredded that hard drive, for example? What when it's all really fine and it's all been done and you're happy with how it's done? What happens to the shredded stuff?
So that goes to the recycling facility. So we use a recycling facility after we've done the data erasure process, and they will then break it down even further, extract what they need to extract out of it, metal wise, and then repurpose it and reuse it in some other form. So the plastics, the metal, different elements that come into it, they will all be separated and then moved forward and reused in some form. So yeah, when they get shredded, they go. So again, no data can be taken out of them, but then they still get further recycled after that point. So it's not like they get chucked in the skip after the fact. We don't do that. It all goes to recycler afterwards, and it's done correctly by the book.
Nice. And is there anything in modern day IT equipment, primarily I'm talking here, that can't be recycled? Or can literally everything nowadays be recycled?
I would say pretty much everything. I'm trying to think of something that can't. I mean, motherboards can, servers can, laptops can, keyboards, mice, you can break them down as well. Nice. I would say pretty much anything. I mean, there may be something that I can't think of, but there's nothing I've come across from working at JBC that we haven't recycled. So
nice.
We've seen a whole range of things. So
yeah, no, I bet. But I think that's a testament then, going back to what we said at the beginning about those old clunky, massive things that had very little resale recycling value, that they've made equipment in a way that a lot, 99.9% of the components will say. That's not an actual fact, by the way, before anyone clips that. But the majority of it can be recycled. And that's kind of a testament to them as well, a little bit, in the fact that they're making it in a way more sustainable way, so that they are thinking at the end of the life. Not only are they trying to do the sales pitch and say, oh, look at our shiny new hardware, it's amazing, it will change your life, that actually they're also thinking at the end of it, what part of this can we actually recycle, make sure everything can be.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good approach to have, because there's a lot, like I said, that back in the day, there was a lot of things that just got chucked and it added a lot of pollution to the planet. It's good now that everyone is thinking of steps of how to make everything that we're doing and touching more sustainable. It's the way forward. I suppose that's how our future is going, and that's how it needs to go to make sure that we sustain a good lifestyle. So it is good that everyone is thinking them couple of steps ahead.
And all of this good work that ITAD companies like yourselves are doing to protect the planet is then being completely destroyed by the data centers from the likes of Microsoft and Google that consume way more power. That article that came out earlier the week.
I did see that article the other day. That is madness, honestly. But I mean,
I know they use renewable energy and all that stuff, but it's like, I wonder all of this good work that people are doing to recycle stuff and be green, and a lot of organisations.
And then you've got these coming through going,
yeah, it's like, is that
just going to ruin all your hard work?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that's a completely different. But it just made me think about how all these organisations are like, we're doing ITAD, we moved our data centres and server rooms to the cloud. This is how green and amazing we are. And then you see articles like that, and you're like,
yeah, is it really as green as what we say we
are?
Yeah. All we can do is try our best, and all we can do is keep pushing forward. Maybe at some point there would be a solution, but
from an ITAD perspective, it's definitely the way forward. And you mentioned just going back beforehand you can't think of I think you said you can't think of a reason not to do ITAD, right?
Yeah.
For example, if playing devil's advocate, so I've gone into clients before, maybe on the smaller side. And when I've been pushing the ITAD message to them and the benefits and stuff like that of it, a lot of their answers at the moment, they're obviously, it's either being kept in a storeroom or they're using a different partner who literally take it away and then that's it. They take it away for free. That's it. It's gone. It's no longer our responsibility. Because they don't feel like the assets and what they have, they're going to get the money back for it compared to what the collection fee is, the processing fee, all of that kind of stuff, which in some cases, you can understand if you've never done it before, you've never seen the benefits of it, that you then go,
of course,
why would I pay someone to come and pick it up and then pay them to process it and then get £5 back for it, kind of thing?
Yeah, of course.
So what's your kind of argument to those, I'm going to say stubborn, but those kind of organisations that don't look at the bigger picture from a green IT sustainability, and also the fact that £5 is £5, it's still potentially profit, right? How do you go about combating the almost not naysayers, but the people that just go, we got a company, they come pick it up, that's it, I'm done. They do it for free. If they sell it, they get the money, whatever kind of thing. How do you combat those guys?
There's numerous ways you can really look at it. So obviously you said, for example, that they pay X amount for the collection, X amount for the processing, and then they might get £5 back as our argument figure stakes. My suggestion then would be to them people to then look around at different ITADs, because not every ITAD is the same. Not every ITAD offers that kind of process, and everyone is different. So some might charge XYZ, some might just charge XY. They might be doing the exact same process. They might be certified to the same standard, but they just have a different internal way of going about it. So if there is something you're not happy with in terms of the charges and the fees, it doesn't hurt for you to look around. It doesn't mean you have to move, but it does mean you can kind of look at other people's options and see exactly if something might be a bit more affordable for you, might be a bit more, you might get more rebate out of it if you can send them a kind of like an idea of what kind of levels you're processing. So I would definitely suggest to people to look around. Just because one person charges that doesn't mean all of us charge exactly the same. There's a set fee and that is it. So look around and see what you think. And in the second point, to the terms of just, giving it away and then it's not our responsibility anymore. If you don't know exactly what they're doing with that, it goes back to the data straight away all over again in my head. If you don't know what they're doing with it and they're just going, factory reset and we sell it off, then your data is going to be sitting in Joe Blogg's house over there. And if Joe Bloggs is someone who knows what he's talking about and knows tech, Joe Bloggs can leak everything out to the whole entire world. And then it's going to come back to you, the person who authorised this company to take it without actually doing your due diligence, I can never say that, and actually seeing how they do their process. So it's twofold. It's definitely worth having a look around, talking to different people, seeing what options are out there and seeing what works for you as a company. What works for one doesn't work for the other. Everyone does it slightly differently, even though we do the same thing. So it's definitely worthwhile looking around, and it is also worthwhile getting that information of what happens to it afterwards, because you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. You want to make sure that you are hitting these goals, even though it might not affect you personally, the company's goals with sustainability. At one point or another, they might come to you for the answers and the information they need to put in a report, for example, to show how they are combating this. If you don't know what's happening with that process, you can't provide anything, and then it just falls back on you, and it just makes you look a bit stupid. So even though you might be hesitant, I would definitely say look around, and I would definitely say get the information you need and make sure the process is being done correctly. You can go to whoever you want, whoever you think is best, but just make sure you are ticking them boxes. It just protects yourself and it protects your company.